As we continue our CAA Summer School Series presented by Geico, today we catch up with the head man over at the College of Charleston Cougars, Earl Grant. Coach Grant, first of all, thank you for taking the time to join us. And how are you doing, first off, and your family and your inner circle during this coronavirus pandemic?
Yeah, I mean, we've been very fortunate. Certainly nobody in my household has been affected with the virus. So we're just very thankful and fortunate that we have been able to stay healthy. So just really excited about that. Our players are here. We've been able to, do the proper testing and got a nice protocol in. So we've been able to protect them as well. So just excited and feel very fortunate that we've been able to stay healthy and we've been able to continue to make some progress. But as for me and my family, just doing well. Just the boys about to start school back up, and so obviously about to change the routine with that. But no complaints on my end.
That's great to hear, Coach, that everyone in the family is healthy. And you touched on it a little bit there. What have some of the challenges been that you've had to face during the offseason with the COVID-19? Obviously, a lot of Zoom meetings like we're having right now.
The first challenge is, me and my wife hadn't been able to go to some of our favorite restaurants down here.
Oh, man.
That's been hard.
That is hard.
But with the players for the first, 3 months after we got done with the CAA tournament, just not having access to the players. Everybody just shut down. Everybody went home. There's a lot of Zoom calls. We had to get used to that. And, you just couldn't see your guys. You couldn't work out with them. You couldn't go out and recruit in the April recruiting period. So it was different, and it's still different. And I think we did a great job of communicating throughout the pandemic. Obviously, during the time when we couldn't see each other face to face, we did a really, really good job. I think the players did with each other. Me and my staff, we did with each other as well as with the players, a lot of communication. And so, just so happy and fortunate that they are back now and starting to find a routine. But it was a challenge, from a technology standpoint, you had to get a little more savvy there. But I think we've learned a lot in this pandemic, about our team, about ourselves. And we've probably grown a little bit overall because of having to adjust and adapt to a new situation.
And Coach, kind of on the brighter end of this pandemic and extended break, I'm sure there was opportunities to do things that maybe you don't usually do during the off season, because usually there is really no off season for you coaches most of the time. What have been some things you've been able to do this off season that maybe you haven't been able to do in the past? I mean, did you catch up on a favorite show on Netflix or a favorite book or just a lot of family time?
Yeah, I mean, I did a lot of reading. You find yourself getting in a routine where, I know for me, my patio ended up being my office. And so, I would get up pretty early and do some reading. I appreciated my neighbors and my neighborhood more through the pandemic, because I was home so much. And so I was able to get around the neighborhood and talk to people, develop some relationships that kind of were lingering. They were there, but you just never had time to really spend time with anybody with the rigors and busyness of the college basketball coaches' lives. And so, being at home, it was good. I mean, obviously, I learned that my neighborhood had a boat dock, and was able to, go hang out over there by the dock some and forced me to want to get in the water a little bit. So, just spending time with my family, working out in the driveway, doing workouts with my sons, basketball workouts. Obviously I couldn't work anybody else out. And so my body, I needed to exert some energy. And so my sons kind of were they benefited from that. I'm sure they're ready for me to go back to work full time now because they're probably tired of the workouts. But a lot of reading, a lot of exercise and routine with my wife, and just spending time with them and working from the patio. And, like I said, just getting in the water a little bit more. During the pandemic, they said you couldn't go anywhere. You couldn't really go anywhere. You had to stay home. You had to all the restaurants were shut down. All the Starbucks were shut down. Like everything was shut down. So one of the places that you could kind of social distance was in the water. And so we ended up, getting out on the boat and getting in the water a good bit.
That's usually one of my favorite spots as well, Coach. You've had like you touched on it earlier. You've had the opportunity to see the players, and they're back on campus in the workouts. How have those workouts been going, and who are some of the players that fans should keep their eye on this season that they might not have seen before?
Yeah, I mean, we went pretty slow when the guys got back. A lot of shooting when they got back. You take 3 months off, the last thing you want to do is just jump right back into it at 100 miles per hour. So the weight room, we started out slow, maybe at 65%. In the workouts, we started out slow, 60%, 65%. Just shooting and skill work, not a lot of cutting and running and trying to overexert the guys. But that was a month ago. Now we've been able to build up. So I think we're getting closer to being, 85, 90% capacity. The guys have done a really good job of having a great attitude and working hard. There's a lot of guys on this team that I'm excited about. I think there's two freshmen that we had last year that probably won't get a lot of credit because, they didn't play as much last year, but they were very integral parts of our program, both playing about 14 minutes a game that have really gotten bigger and stronger and understand what we're trying to get done here. So I'm excited about D'Angelo and Brendan Tucker making a jump from their freshman to sophomore year. Those guys are really, really talented and play hard and do things the right way. But we do have a couple of experienced guys in the backcourt with Zep Jasper, who has logged a lot of minutes over the years. He's got a lot of wins under his belt. He's third or fourth year in the program. This is his third year on the court. And so, but he's a guy that just really works hard and can really shoot the ball. Deferred a little bit last year behind Grant and Brevin Galloway, but capable of so much more. So I'm excited about him having a chance to step up and take the next step in our program. And then Brevin Galloway, another starter who's been around for, 4 years, who was our second leading scorer, 12 game. Shot I think he made 73s on the year, shooter. And so just really excited about his leadership and his experience. We did pick up a kid from Minnesota, Peyton Willis, who was 6'4", who started every game, an average 10 points a game in the Big Ten. So he's another guy that made 60-plus threes, very talented scorer, good size. Was one of the most efficient guys in college basketball and ball care, not turning it over versus his assists, so assist-to-turnover ratio. So, excited about having experience there. In terms of our inside guys, we got Osinachi Smart, who's a fifth-year guy, this big athletic, physical guy that's really been an anchor for us around the basket. And he started a lot of games last year, early in the year, really did a good job for us, been around for a lot of years, understands the league. So we were very excited about him. He was a red shirt last year. He's about 6'7", 255. We had a hard time dealing with him in practice. He's a talented guy, can play inside, can play out, very physical. And then we took a transfer from St. Joe, Lorenzo Edwards, who started at St. Joe, averaged 8 points and 5 rebounds. He's a big guy, 6'8". So really excited about the experience. We do have other guys. We got a really good freshman class. I'm excited about getting to each one of those guys. But, we got size, we got skill in that class, we got speed. Really excited about what we have there. And then Sama Njai is another big guy, 6'9", sat out last year with a knee injury. And so he's back. So I'm just excited. We got a lot of pieces. And obviously got to put it all together. Which we're trying to do right now, but this is one of the teams I've been more excited about here in recent years.
And Coach, speaking about being excited, the league is always an exciting race year in and year out in the CAA. When you take a look at the landscape, what will be different this year in the conference as you guys get prepared for another season?
Well, I think the only thing that's going to be different right now is just the unknown of, what exactly is going to happen. I know we pushed the start date for CAA play back. But, just all the unknowns, not really knowing exactly what's going to happen. We've been watching over the last couple of months, what's going to happen with football, what's going to happen with basketball. So I don't know exactly what the differences are going to be. I mean, I just know for me and my staff and a lot of other coaches in the profession, just a lot of unknowns. And so in terms of getting to league play and playing games, I think the thing that'll be different is we've lost a lot of players in the league, a lot of guys who have been around forever, So I know we've lost, obviously Grant Rilla. I know you think about other teams in the league who had guys that have been around, seemed like for 6 years, and those guys are gone. There's a lot of new faces. I think there's a lot of new faces. One of the things that stay consistent is, we didn't have a lot of turnover in coaches, so pretty much, the same coaching staff with the exception of Wilmington and James Madison, but a lot of new faces, a lot of players who were like guys that really had names in this league over the last several years. I think there's a lot of those guys have graduated and moved on. So I think that'll be the biggest difference, is to, so many good players who have graduated, and it's like the next guy's time to step up. Who's going to be the great players? Who's going to be the guys who really step up? I think that'll be a big difference.
And, Coach, it leads to my next question in regards to some of the players and the turnover, one of them obviously being Grant Riller. We won't know until October, but what will it mean for your program to see players drafted in consecutive years and to have now 3 players in the NBA when it's all said and done? And also, how is Grant doing? What have you guys talked about as he gets prepared for the NBA and the NBA draft?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of been this is my 20th year in coaching. And you don't take the NBA thing lightly because it don't happen a lot. In 20 years, I can't say that we've had 20 guys. Every year we got a guy going to the NBA. We've had a lot of guys go to Europe. A lot of guys play professionally and done well. But, we've just been fortunate that way. It's nothing that we saw coming. 5 years ago, they asked me, hey, yeah, you're going to have 3 guys drafted back-to-back. I mean, I couldn't see that coming. Because we didn't talk about the NBA. We didn't really talk about, trying to get to that level. One thing we did was just talk about working hard and trying to get better and trying to compete for a championship, trying to be good teammates. We talked about all that stuff, trying to be humble. But we never really talked about, hey, the NBA or what's going to happen with that. And so it's kind of been a surprise, but it's been nice to look back and see that the fruit of your labor, that principle is true, that you reap what you sow. And, the fruit of your labor, those are true principles, because one thing I'll say about Joe Cheeley and Jarrell Brantley, those guys worked, man. I mean, those guys really was always in the gym, early in the morning, late at night. They put the time in. And then Grant, I think, learned from watching those guys. And he did the same thing. So I'm happy for Grant, the position that he's in. Right now, he's in a really good position. I think they got him anywhere from late first round to early second round. He's definitely worthy of it. He's definitely, capable of playing at that level. And so I'm excited to see what's going to happen for him. And I know he's working really hard right now. But the thing I'm most proud about with all those guys is not only playing in the NBA, but they left college at Charleston with a degree in hand. So all those degrees on time. And so they always will have that to fall back on.
And, Coach, one of those players who has stood out in the NBA bubble not too long ago, the Utah Jazz, Jarrell Brantley, obviously a former student athlete of yours. What's it like watching him on that stage the other night perform the way he performed?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of, was just kind of waiting and expecting something good to happen for him because, he was a different kind of specimen. And he always had a really high belief in himself. So it would be a matter of time where he would be able to, break through and step up and do some things because, physically he's in a position where he can go out there and survive with those guys. He's so big. So it was nice to see him have success. And I know he's been battling. One thing that when guys make it to the NBA, what I've learned is there's always another level you're trying to get to. And so whether you're a young kid playing AAU basketball and you find yourself playing good and then you realize, okay, I go play at this next level. Well, wow, that's humbling. I couldn't play as well. So I think even at the NBA level, just from talking to Jarrell, he made it, but 2 months ago, he talked about how hard it was in practice. The guys you're dealing with, everybody's so much bigger and faster and stronger. So you're still fighting for something. So he said it was kind of weird how people can congratulate him and tell him they're really happy for him. He's made it to the NBA, whereas he felt like he hadn't made it. Like he's still fighting to try to make it because every day was like a battle. And in that same battle you have to have as a 13-year-old kid trying to make it to the highest level of grassroots, and you have your humbling days because you play against the highest level of kids. It's like he was dealing with that in the NBA. Like he was a big-time player. Everybody was congratulating him for making the league, and he felt like he was starting over from the bottom, trying to fight his way out of the bottom of the bucket again. So it's interesting how that works. It makes you realize that I guess there really ain't no top. There really ain't no top of the mountain. You can get to the top of the mountain. You think and what you realize, no, I still got work to do. So that's kind of what he's been going through. But I'm happy to see him again. The fruit of that labor, all that hard work he put in. The other night he played well, and it had nothing to do with that night. It was just all that time before that night that he put in, and it worked out for him.
Wrapping up today with the head coach of the College of Charleston, Earl Grant. And Coach, unfortunately, another headline in the offseason in regards to social justice. What have the conversations around your team concerning the social justice movement and Black Lives Matter been like?
I mean, I've told the guys, feel free to express themselves. If they have something to fight for and they want to express themselves, then I will support them in doing it. But just know what you're fighting for, and don't just follow out because the crowd is going in one direction. Really know why you're fighting. And so we've had those conversations. But I try to explain to the guys that racial injustice and some of these issues that we see now, they've been going on for a lot of years. I don't think we can change anything overnight. But I have told my guys that, obviously being in college athletics, the platform that we have is very unique other than the population. Like they don't get to experience what we experience in athletics where, you got a white coach, you got a black coach, you got white players, you got black players. And so for us, we got a little diverse community right there in the locker room. So I think it starts with us trying to be what we want our community to be. And that starts with loving each other and respecting each other for who each of us are, the character of the person, not the color of their skin, and really trying to learn each other and appreciate each other for our differences. And so it's starting with our basketball program, and then we got to try to make, I know Matt Roberts and Jamal Walton, our assistant athletic director, and Kate Tiller, our academic, they've done a great job of putting together some groups where we can have some really hard conversations among student athletes from all different races. So I think that's healthy. But trying to get our basketball program to be an example of what we want the world to look like. If we can't get it right with our little 20-person tribe and love each other and respect each other for the character of each individual and not the color of their skin, then how can we expect the world to do that? How can we expect our community to do that? So start in the locker room and then help that, permeate through the athletic department. And maybe when the students get back, we can try to do some things on campus to make that spread to the campus, and then we can work on the community at Charleston. But, we've talked about, trying to be the light, focusing on loving each other. I know there's some dark times, but if we want to jump in, and darkness and darkness don't go together. Like the only thing that can overcome darkness is light. So there is a lot of things that's going on. I think it's been going on for hundreds of years. But I think one of the things, again, we can do is we can be the light in a dark time and just try to do our part the best that we can. But it's been very encouraging just seeing the community of Charleston, whites and blacks come together and rally together and work together and talk together and protest together to try to make some change happen.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for sharing the insights to your team, Coach. And thank you for sharing a little bit about your summer. Stay healthy, stay safe, and hopefully we see the Cougars back on the court sooner rather than later.
I appreciate it, man. Thanks for having me, and I look forward to seeing you soon.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you, buddy.